In a sea of games constantly being created and published, a few amazing and outstanding games on Roblox stand out and outshine the most, either for having incredibly unique gameplay, art style, or just pushing the creative standard for Roblox games. Or, just straight up gambling. But a few games I feel that really stand out can often go unnoticed just due to how utterly massive the gaming catalog is on Roblox. Now, before I go on and speak about the game I'm going to talk about, I will say the game is only available to be played on PC, and it's only in its demo form of release. So sorry to any Roblox mobile or console enjoyers. As far as the rest of you, let me introduce you to a game called XOLO. Spoilers ahead for the game. I would highly suggest going and playing it if you can. If not, stick around and let me show you XOLO. XOLO, created by Ikuro? Sorry if I'm mispronouncing that. I'm trying my best at pronouncing a Roblox username. I found in an interesting way, as I found it in a way most people consume their media nowadays. Through TikTok. I was probably mindlessly doom scrolling after losing 5 or more games of Overwatch and logging off for the night when it came up on my For You page and instantly struck me as it states. This is the most interesting game on Roblox. Granted, I was kind of rolling my eyes at this, as most people promote their Roblox games like this, even if they are in fact the most boring games I've ever played on Roblox. But what stood out to me was the visuals in the TikTok, so the next day I had to check it out for myself. XOLO's description reads as, Demo release. Play as a fearless game enthusiast who just caught wind of a so-called cursed RPG game that has yet to be beaten. Are the rumors true? Only one way to find out. Giving me that description made me instantly think of Petscop. I'm still waiting for Pyrocynical to release Petscop 2. Please, for the love of God, Pyro, please, I just want to finish. A captivating and yet interesting description. As I booted up the game, you are met with what looks like to be a cubicle that which you call your apartment. You're met with very little light and mostly just darkness, as most of the light comes from just your computer screen, but the other half is from a hefted light bulb. At least that's what it feels like to me. As you look around, you could see your absolutely ancient rig of a PC. Now, don't get me wrong, I know it said we're game enthusiasts, but come on, there isn't a single RGB LED fan in this rig. So I don't know how valid it says we are an actual gaming enthusiast. But you also do get a radio that which occasionally shouts nonsense. At least that's what it sounds like to me. It could be some ancient code or some other things that I'm just not picking up on. But it also plays some cool tones while you're playing your game. One of the screens that you see displays the game inside of the game you're already playing. Roblox Inception level of gaming right here. And another monitor to surf the web. And trust me, you need specific websites, though I already tried some of the most obvious ones and it went to no avail. Clicking on the other PC brings you into the game, which starts you at the tutorial. Now, the entire premise of the game is fighting people and stealing their faces for your collection, as it states. So kind of like a Leatherface catch 'em all Pokemon vibe, with a very pixelated and simplistic art style. Once you start playing, every person you kind of bump into, they're kind of just a bunch of blocks formed together to form a human-like shape, and have some silly, weird dialogue. But once you get into your first fight, the art style changes entirely. You get to see this person's face and their hands, and this is the face that you are going to steal for your collection. Being thrown into any fight, you get shown this art style that reminds me somewhat of Boys Vert and a mix of Helix. I'm totally pronouncing those names wrong, but one of them being a YouTuber making artistic videos on depression and life, with the other being an RPG that gives off the same vibes and somewhat similar art style, and just a similar goofy mood. Granted, I've never played Helix, so I don't know how similar it is to XOLO, but it definitely feels like an inspiration for it. Anyways, the combat at first is rather straightforward, as you use both your hands starting with 50 HP combining to 100. Just like the enemy does, all you have to do is use WASD to avoid the attacks on a little cross by moving your hand away from where the enemy is going to hit. And it's pretty much vice versa for you to attack them. You'll have to use WASD to point where they're going in order for you to hit them. You are given a little number of fuck-ups before you completely lose your turn, so don't worry if you think it's going to be too hard to hit them at first. At first, it's kind of slow and predictable, but slowly gets faster while playing through, and I was worried that this was going to be it, and there wasn't going to be any more special moves, and this was all the game was. But boy, was I wrong. Sure, a lot of the enemies are going to have this form of attack, but there's so much more. There's so many enemies that have dodge, feet mechanics. Long and that boy. Stomp. Oh, you have to put in special codes. Oh shit, you're making me do this. Holy shit, this guy is mogging me. And you have to, there's one where it creates a wall and hits you on both of your hands. Balance. What you mean, balance? I might die. And they all make you play special little mini games in order for you to either dodge these attacks or completely mess them up and take damage like I did on the balancing totem mini game. You have to balance a totem on your hand, and if it falls over, guess what? Both of your hands are getting hit. I nearly had a completely perfect run on a flawless level until I met these guys that were throwing walls at me and hitting both my hands, and I had to balance stupid totems on my hands. Absolutely worst thing ever. I struggled the most with it. But don't worry, you get your own special attacks too, such as Knuckle Sandwich, Y2K Crash, and my personal favorite, Yoinky Tuckums. The system you use for your special moves is called cheats, and it's literally just as I said it is. It's essentially just a special move set or like magic. You also get a heat bar with this system, and how it works is like if the heat bar is completely empty, you're allowed to use as many magic moves as you want, but each magic move slowly fills the heat bar, and once the heat bar is full, you won't be able to use any more of your magic moves until the heat bar cools down. But don't worry, don't think of it like I thought of it at first, where I thought if it was full, it was going to be exactly like a 5-star rating on GTA, and the FBI was going to come down and bust down my door and take away my games. What you should worry about though is losing all 3 of your lives, as you are given 3 lives just for combat. And if you lose all these lives, you will die and lose 1 life if you lose in combat. These lives can also be exchanged for game items, but be careful because I learned the hard way, if you lose all 3 of your lives, you will be met with a face of death and lose some money as well as one of your cheats. But you won't lose anything you collect inside the game, so you don't have to worry about losing collectible rings you find along the way in your journey. With such an in-depth combat system and such a cool and unique art style, the game really stands out. Granted, with that being said, it's still only a demo release and has some problems, but since it's just a demo, take everything I'm going to say with a grain of salt. The game at times can feel a little repetitive with some of the fights, a lot of them just being a simple move your hand away from the damage, with some fights giving me what feels like way too much leeway, as I had like 4 times I could mess up before I actually got hit. So I almost ended up beating the entire game without taking damage, till I got met with that stupid totem, and now I have to restart my flawless speedrun. And this just might be a personal pet peeve, but I loved exploring the map and finding all the little secrets behind waterfalls and other just small secrets that you have to really look for. Granted, a lot of them weren't able, I wasn't able to do a lot in them because since it's only a demo release, a lot of them stopped me and said, hey, this is only a demo, the game more will come out as more is published. But Jesus Christ, the amount of times I had fallen off the map and it sent me back to the very, very start of the level, I just wish there were checkpoints. But in all seriousness, the game itself is wonderful and immaculate. This is probably a ton of lore I missed, and I definitely didn't get all the faces as I'm still missing like 4 or 6, but the game is utterly amazing, and the fact that it was all done on Roblox completely blows my mind. Akuro, sorry again if I'm mispronouncing that, but I can simply not wait for the full release of this Roblox game. So if you haven't played it, I would highly suggest playing it and giving it a try. I know it probably won't be for everyone, but I would suggest at least trying it, as it is definitely not getting the attention it deserves. Hello, Future Gabe here, coming in to tell you that editing this was completely abysmal, and I absolutely despised it. Not really. I actually had a lot of fun. But it was a lot of work. But if you guys really did enjoy this video and want me to do more video essays on games like this on Roblox or just games in general, I'd be so very happy to. Sorry that this one took forever to make. Like I said, just took me a long time to figure out editing for this video. I used a lot of new things in this video. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Anyway, thank you. I just wanted to say that it took me an abysmally long time, and anybody who does video essays, holy shit, that shit is hard.